Hello, my beautiful guys and dolls, and welcome to an episode of Before the Curtain. I'm your host, Abbie Campbell, and we are here to discover the passion behind the performance. Artists of all backgrounds will share their stories about what it takes to create, survive, and thrive in the competitive world of entertainment. Finding inspiration in their journeys, we aim to bring you everything that happens before the curtain. Today, my friends, we have an artist of poise, passion, and more importantly, an authentic heart. Originally from New York, this artist devoted her upbringing to the mastery of dance. Alongside her credits as a professional dancer, she also has a bachelor's degree in marketing and advertising. After completing her studies, she moved to the West Coast where she found herself performing next to some of the greatest stars of the industry. Jennifer Lopez on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, CeeLo Green, Britney Spears, Tiesto, and Old Dominion. She was lead dancer and choreographer for ZZ Top. Is that how you say it? ZZ?
Yeah.
Okay. I should have asked that. Anyway, where she collaborated with Billy Gibbons after meeting him while filming an episode of Pawn Stars. Specifically in Las Vegas, she performed in the iconic Don Arden's Jubilee, Purple Rain, the Prince tribute show, danced and hosted Crazy Girls at Planet Hollywood, and performed alongside celebrity magician Murray Sawchuk in his appearances at Fantasy and Alice Cooper. Now, my friends, she is here with us today because after all of her experiences, she's made a big kickball change into an exciting new craft, magic. Determined to alter our perception, she recently starred in the Hollywood Christmas Parade and will appear on the CW's Masters of Illusion Season 12, where she debuts some of her newest and most daring illusions. So, my guys and dolls, please help me welcome to the mic the outstanding woman herself, Dani Elizabeth.
What an introduction.
Yeah.
I'm taking you everywhere with me. That was amazing.
Oh my gosh. So why magic?
Okay, well, the obvious magic, I'd say the obvious reason my husband does magic. I literally live in a magic house. So I am surrounded by magic. I honestly didn't know much about magic before I met him. Mm-hmm. And now that we've been together for almost 9 years, magic quickly infiltrated my life. And I actually grew to find it quite fascinating in another realm of performing because my dance career led into hosting when I was in Crazy Girls, which I was, doing some comedy and hosting, and I still do host MC type stuff. But the magic was a nice way to still continue to perform, doing something that's visual while having the gift of gab, I guess, because it's a verbal connection. There are some things that you don't have to verbally connect, but I think it's more powerful when you can talk to an audience and connect with them using language. So it kind of started just going that way. Like, yeah. And then I was always working with my husband in the sense of assisting him. But then it became, well, why don't you do a guest spot in my show? If you're learning this and this, and we put this together, and he's been such an amazing support system and mentor. Yeah, I honestly, I couldn't have done it without him because he's like really just like, all right, you're into it, let's go.
So was it like you started asking questions about magic, or was he like,
yeah,
kind
he was
of
like, well,
bugging you?
There's not a whole lot of females in magic in the first place. And he worked with his guest act for many, many years. And then once COVID happened, and I guess because I've always had my own separate career, and, when a few of the shows show after show started closing, all of a sudden it became a lot more convenient to work together, because I wasn't working on the strip in a show 6 nights a week. So I started learning, and I would do, so he has a huge YouTube following. Mm-hmm. So I was doing some things with him. We did a series of videos where got some flack for it, but I would reveal the trick. And so, we would spend hours just going through tricks and different things and learning. I would learn them and then also learn what to reveal and then also learn what not to reveal to actually protect, the craft. Yeah. So it started in that sense. And then when we started working together more and more, and then he started touring more after his show last closed, it was like, okay, well, why don't, if you want to learn something, and then that way you could do the guest spot in my show. And so that gives him 15 minutes out of the hour and 15 of the show, gives him a 15-minute rest break. Yeah, and now it's just been building from there. And I've actually been looking at some new things that I want to take on. And so I was texting away with him last night because he's out of town doing a couple shows. And I'm working on a couple new acts to film the next season of Masters, hopefully. So, yeah.
I love this. I'm also excited because you're now the second person in Magic that I've interviewed. So now after interviewing the first and learning so much, I'm so excited to ask more questions.
I love it.
But before I get too ahead of myself, what was it like to first do the guest spot?
It was terrifying for a few different reasons. As performers, I feel it's pretty normal to naturally get butterflies often when I go on stage. There's, sometimes when you're doing the same show over and over, and it's like you don't even have to think to do it. Sometimes that goes away a bit because we've been on tour. The venue is always changing. So it's like, okay, I don't know what this stage is going to be like. Where's the staircase? So when I have to bring people up on stage, there's so many things other than your act that you have to think about outside of performing on the same stage every single night, which I found very interesting. So that caused a little bit of nerves. Secondly, my husband taught me the act and has done it before. So I felt an enormous amount of pressure to live up to his standards of doing it. And, he's been doing some of these things. He's been doing magic for like almost 3 decades, So I was like, well, I have to do a good job. Not that he put pressure on me, but that's just what we do, I think, naturally to ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, I was terrified, and he knows that sometimes he can tell when I'm like I'm so nervous, and he's so calm, cool, collected, even when he is nervous, which is really annoying. But he was so supportive the entire time, and like would put the phone out and get little clips, and he's like, how'd it feel the first time I came off stage? And I forget where we were. Maybe it was it Tahoe? It might have, no, I don't know. Maybe it was Tahoe. But he asked me, he's like, how did it feel? And I was like, honestly, I blacked out. I don't remember. And it's 8-10 minutes long. So I was like, I don't remember. Did I say all those jokes? And he was like, yeah, actually, like you nailed everything. I'm like, great. Awesome. I just remember too, I like sweat through my shirt, but you couldn't tell because it was dark. But yeah. So yeah, it went well. And now I'm doing 2 different acts. They're both about 8 to 10 minutes. And just depending on the length of the show that he gets booked for. If it's a 75-minute show, then I'll do both acts in 2 different sections. If it's like an hour-long show, then usually I just do the one.
Mm-hmm. And what is your spin on magic? Because I know everybody has a specialty.
Yes.
Right. Typically.
Yeah, I think so. And I think everybody's got a different style. Because I came from a hosting standpoint of comedy when I was in Crazy Girls, my husband's style, which is very much so like comedy magic, is the style that I have taken on and works best for me as well. That kind of like witty banter. I tend to talk fast so that it's like, quick jokes, kind of thing. For Masters of Illusion, I did a couple of illusions, which we have in our garage, which is amazing. And it was a lot of fun for me because for years I've done those illusions with my husband when he's had to do them for corporates and stuff. We don't do them normally in his show. So it was the first time that I actually got to be the magician in the illusion and be on the outside of the box instead of the bendy dancer, magic assistant on the inside of the box, which was a really full circle moment for me. And I got to do it with my aerial partner, which was just like an honor to be able to do something else, perform with her in another way and have her take that on with me and trust me. So, yeah.
Did you ever think you were going to be on the opposite side of the box?
If you had asked me this like maybe 7-8 years ago, no, I didn't. Maybe like for a video, for some content, but no, I didn't. I honestly didn't. I don't know if I thought about it in depthly enough, but I didn't necessarily, wake up one day and was like, oh, I'm going to start doing magic. Mm-hmm. It just like it started growing into that. And because I like it, I genuinely really love it. Mm-hmm. And I love learning about the craft and learning about, the principles, which take, a long time because there's so many different things, the basis of magic, which I really respect. And so even if I don't perform those, I think it's still important for me to know them just out of respect for the craft. You know, it would be like a dancer, you know, who's just naturally really talented. You know, there's those guys that like don't start dancing until they're like 17. And
All of them.
Yeah.
All
like,
of them.
Excuse me? What? But then because even though, you know, they're great hip hop dancers, just because they care about dancing so much, they go take a ballet class, even though they're never going to dance ballet, but they know it's important to know about the principles and to have that add to the style of their craft and dance. So I kind of feel the same way about honoring the craft of magic and knowing, you know, basic principles and basic, like, I'm starting to learn some card tricks, different, you know, sleight of hand kind of things, which is a lot of fun and it's kind of fun to nerd out with my husband about it too. Like we used to be able to just nerd out about performing and share our stories. I would come home from the shows like, oh, this happened on stage or this costume, like, you know, it's always fun. And now we actually get to talk about the same things and, you know, have his opinions. And then sometimes I come up with something that's, you know, clever and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting this magic thing.
Have you, oddly specific question, have you found that you get the same, I don't know if the word fulfillment is correct, but the same bright light and fire under you with magic as you did as a dancer?
100%. Oh, and what I realized about myself, and I think the hardest part about being a dancer is they always say that you, as a dancer, you experience 2 deaths. The first one is when you stop dancing, and then the second one is when you die. And I had a ballet mentor tell me that at one point in time, and it's always stuck with me. And I think some people can transition easier than others. So I think some people are just like, oh, I've done it my entire life. I'm good. I'm done with it. But then I do think there's a majority of us that can't imagine giving up dancing or performing. So I think for me, it's about performing. I am true a performer. I love performing in every sense. And magic has just been like the next step in the ladder, I think, for me to be able to continue. And magic I could do until I'm 95, you know, whereas dancing can get a little more difficult. But yeah, I do. I love it just as much. And you know, there's something a little bit different about it because dancing, you know, I was going to say you're sweating, but actually, honestly, sometimes I'm sweating doing magic too, running around on stage and stuff. But there is a different, you know, way that you're using your body and your mind and your brain. And because what I'm doing, I'm always speaking. You know, when you're talking to an audience is always different. You're always going to have different responses. So your brain has to always be alert. So I do find that I have less opportunities to go in autopilot when I'm performing magic. Because whereas dancing, once you know your steps, like it's and you don't have to talk to anyone. You're smiling, you're feeling it within. Sometimes you're performing for the audience, but it feels very like personal. Whereas I find that I have less like interpersonal moments because I'm like still engaging with the audience and having to be on because they answer my questions. And then if they're going to do something, I often bring people on stage. I have to react differently. Or if I think it's a gift to be able to select people before you even talk to them. The moment I walk on stage, I'm looking at people because I don't want the drunk guy. I don't want the chick that just wants to be in the spotlight. I don't want the attention seeker. You know, I want somebody that just wants to genuinely be up, have a good time, go back and forth, and also listen a little bit to me so that the trick works the way it's supposed to work. So yes, I'm constantly like on edge because I'm like, okay. And then I have my moments where everything's like running great and I can kind of like sink into it and go into those. But yeah, definitely when you're speaking to an audience, there's a different part of your brain that engages and has to stay engaged. Like, yeah, there's nothing more to it than that, I think.
Anything can happen.
Yes.
Do you think any part of your dance training has helped you prepare to be a magician?
100%. I think that if somebody was my age and had never been on stage before and decided to learn magic and perform it. I think that they could learn it, but the performing aspect, I think, is something that we learn throughout, our careers, and B, you kind of just have to have, I think, to a certain point. I mean, we've been, I'm sure the same with you, in dance classes since you were 4 years old, and your dance recitals, and so you've learned to perform at a very young age. So I think, and to me, good magic and not so good magic is really about the performer. It's about the delivery. It's about the person on stage that, are they exciting to watch? Do you actually want to watch what they're doing? Or are you bored out of your mind? And so I think even if you teach somebody, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a great performer, that they might be able to sit here and show you the trick, but they might not be able to take that to the stage to do. And so for me, I think dancing my entire life, being, on stage as a dancer, and then also bridging that gap several years ago when I started hosting and doing some comedy. So when I started doing magic and speaking on stage, it wasn't the first time I've ever spoke on stage for 10 minutes. I've been doing that for quite a few years and had practice with that. And I've gone and done some stand-up and some improv classes and things like that to help make that feel a little more natural.
Oh my God, wait, you've done stand-up?
I have. It was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Did you do that? Oh, sorry. We're going on a sidetrack now. Was that something that you just felt on your heart to go try? Or were you like, no, I need to get better at hosting?
It was more, it wasn't like I'm dying to do stand-up. I envy those people that are dying to do stand-up. I think it's important to do it if you, are speaking on a mic and telling jokes. I think it's important to test those things out. I actually even took some of my magic tricks that my comedy magic bits, and I did that at a stand-up. Yeah, they're like, why is this girl getting on stage with a deck of cards? Like, what is she doing?
How did it go?
It went fine. I did great. It was a little bit of an awkward environment, I think, but it was good. I got the laughs where I wanted to get the laughs. And then there was certain other areas that when I went back and watched, I was like, oh, okay, I was talking too fast there. It was, and even though it's scary, it's a scary environment. I would rather perform for 10,000 people anywhere in the world than 100 people doing stand-up. Because I think mentally, because I know that a lot of them are actually seasoned comics or people working on stuff. Everyone's working on things, but it feels a little bit more of a judgier environment.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. I don't know.
But well, people are also, I feel like, very particular about their comedy.
Yes.
And
comedy's
there's
subjective.
And there's so many more things to adhere to with people's beliefs, perceptions, all the things. However, I'm now really on this topic, but what a great way to work on your goals through something else, taking a deck of cards and working through your magic tricks and or comedy with that act into stand-up.
And of course, my husband pushed that. I had done stand-up before, and he was like, no, you should take this and bring it to one of the open mic nights and just do it there. And that's how because when he first started magic, it was more serious and told the story, did the trick, and he quickly realized that getting a laugh made it more enjoyable and was different because there's not a lot of people that take that approach. There's not a lot of magicians that also have a natural gift for stand-up or comedy. And so he learned the craft, and that really helped him bridge that gap for his style. So even though I had kind of dabbled with some comedy before doing magic, he was like, no, now you've got the magic with the comedy, take it and go practice at an open mic. And I was like, I hate when you're right, but you're right.
Do you still do that?
I haven't in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. I should. I mean, it would be helpful if I'm in town too. It's just I've been on the road so much this year. But yeah, I would like to. I also have been writing some more jokes that if I could use, they're a little bit more adult, some old jokes that I'm revisiting and now rewriting. So eventually I would like to just go do a set and do, maybe a minute or two of my comedy into some of the magic with the comedy magic. But yeah.
That's so cool. That's such a good idea.
Have you done it?
Stand up?
Yeah, have you ever like...
No, I think it'd be fun. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to. I have random jokes written on my phone.
Oh my God, I love that.
Actually, I wrote one, what was it, like last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever I was really irritated about the situation with my car. And
Ongoing.
Yep. And I wrote it all out. I think it probably turned into like a 10-minute story just because it turned into more of like a rant. However, there were a few jokes in there that
you go back, fine tune it, and that's what open mic does.
Yeah.
You can just get up there and read that rant, and then record, and when you hear a little chuckle, you're like, okay, that's a spot, that's a spot, that's a spot. Tighten it up, move it around, like, and that's what people do. That's why these like comics, they're so good. They'll go to 3, open mics in a night, and they can get their jokes out in a few weeks. Sometimes they've got it down.
Yeah.
I truly do admire and like honor the craft. It's also very terrifying.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I've had a comedian on here and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so back
to magic.
Back to magic. What has been the hardest thing to learn about magic?
I mean, honestly, it's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's still so much. I know there's still so much for me to learn. But I think probably right now, because where I'm at is using the cards, like using a deck of cards and being able to force a card. That was like my first hurdle.
Mm.
And to be able to do that seamlessly, like it's one thing just to force a card. So I know like I can rifle through a deck of cards. You say stop. And then wherever the card is that you stop on, I'll know what that card is. That's what I mean by forcing a card. It's one thing to know how to do it, but when you watch certain people do it, it's like you can't even see that there's anything going on. Yeah, like it's just so flawless. And so it's like anything, right? You learn something and then doing it 100 to 200 times before performing it, right? To really like get it down, to get it in that muscle memory. So I think that is the one thing that I've been working on, because I do a couple forces in the one act that I've been doing. And so I just want it to look like I've been doing magic for years. And so I literally have a deck of cards in my purse. And sometimes when I'm like sitting somewhere, I'm just waiting, or I take it out. Like if I'm at the DMV, take it out. And I do my shuffles and my forces a few times through, put it back in my bag, and just practice it whenever I can. And so that is the first thing for what I'm currently doing. And then obviously there's so much more to learn. I mean, so much. It's crazy. Like,
and so you have more of an emphasis on like big illusions?
No, no, because first of all, we travel so much. So I'm doing more of the comedy magic stuff. Okay. I like performing the illusions because it makes me feel a little bit more connected to my dance side, where like it's coming out this season. The 2 illusions that I did in Masters of Illusion on the CW, I did 2 of them, and there's just moments where like most magicians, especially males, will do them, and they're just, they present and, pose and to get the reaction. Whereas I was doing a couple turns. I had a couple, like my little cane, a little kickball change. Of course, I had to put my own spin or flair on it. So I think it's kind of fun for me being a dancer to incorporate some of my dance side. There's actually a trick that I'm going to be working on that is very much so going to have some choreography involved with it as well. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
We love that.
Yeah.
And have you brought in your aerial experience at all to magic?
Yes. So my duo partner and I, we have a 4-minute act, and we decided to try to bring some magic to it. So the one act that I'm doing magic, it's called a card sword, right? So like I would have 3 people pick a different card, and then I throw the cards in the air. I stab the cards in the air with the card sword, and now all 3 of the cards that you just picked are on that sword. Mm-hmm. So that's the act that I do when I'm on tour with my husband. It's an 8-minute bit with jokes and comedy and stuff in there. Well, we decided to take the card sword concept and on the lollipop, or it could be done on a lira, but when we did perform this for Masters, which now you're going to know before you see it, but check it out.
But still, you need to see that.
Right.
I want to see it.
I'm excited to see it too. But so we do a whole like duo bit on the lollipop, and then I force the cards to 3 people. And then I take the sword, I throw it to my partner, Sarah Romanowski. She's up in the hoop. I throw it up to her. And then I say, 3, 2, 1, throw. And I throw the deck of cards, and she's upside down. She stabs the cards and then throws the sword back to me. And all 3 cards are now on the sword. And then each person yells out their card, and it's the card that she stabbed. Wow. So we've kind of combined that whole concept, which has been fun for us to work through. And it's an ongoing thing. We've done it a couple times in some shows around here. And we keep working on different ways, like changing, okay, maybe we're going to do the card bit before, then the aerial stuff. And so, yeah, the format of the whole act to really kind of perfect it. So, yeah, if anyone wants to put us in their show.
I love it. But so I've never, because I think you mentioned it to me before you went on Masters of Illusion, kind of incorporating a little bit of aerial.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, wow, what a niche idea, what a niche performance, what a
Thanks.
Inventive way to create your own brand in a sense.
Thanks.
Which will lead me to the question of, do you think your studies in advertising and marketing has helped you brand yourself as a magician?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just anything in life, even as a dancer, I was always pretty good at and excited to do like the PR things when, they'd be like, oh, we need somebody to go do an interview or talk and way back in Jubilee, I did a series of like interviews so I could have when the show was closing of my own friends, kind of like you're doing here. And so I think the whole marketing aspect, it taught me how to just know how to be brandable and know how to change. My husband's also really great at it. He's like, I'm going to say he's the PR whore. Like, he's so good at it. So, it helps to have it running around our household too, because it just keeps the ideas inspired and keep happening. Yeah. And I think that the thing that I'm still kind of finding my niche as a magician in this world. Obviously, comedy magic is my thing, but I also am starting to get this pull towards really putting some emphasis on girl power / girl magic. Every time Murray and I perform, there's a series of young girls that come up just to me to get their autograph. And I find it's my favorite part. Like, honestly, I think that's one of the parts that has made me fall in love with magic so much, because it's a realm where, sometimes comedy and not so much. It's a realm where I can actually perform for kids, not all the time, but there are often kids like that come to many shows, and then have the opportunity where they can connect with me because I am talking on stage, and they look up to me. Like, it makes me feel like a Power Ranger sometimes. Like, I don't know why I go back to Power Rangers, but I do. And so they will come up to me first before Murray, or not even have any interest in him. And he's on stage 75% of the time. But they look up to the fact that I'm there, I've got a sword on stage, I'm being funny, I'm interacting with people, them, the kids. And so they'll bring cards, like they pick cards up off the ground and they'll bring them up to me and they'll say, I really liked you on stage. Can you sign this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. So then, especially for the young girls, I sign Girl Magic, Dani Elizabeth, XO, like just, I don't know, to be empowering. I think it's fun for them to see a female on stage. And I think that we need, more females on stage, especially in magic. Maybe not. I'll take over. It's okay.
I will take on the burden.
Let me take that back.
No, but also it's probably really cool for them to see in their eyes like a movie star, same equivalent, but yet still be able to connect with them on such much more personal level, because it's not like you are surrounded by security guards. Right. You know what I mean?
And I think a part of them thinks, wait, oh, wow, magic is cool because she's doing it. It brings that element because you want to see people like you. It's like if we grew up only seeing male dancers, you're like, oh, well, is there a place for me? But growing up seeing some of the best dancers in the world, these, female all styles of dance. You're like, wow, that's who I want to emulate. That's who I want to be like. That style, or the way her lines. And so I feel like for magic, I'm kind of doing the same thing for young girls, and they're thinking, oh, well, I could be on stage. I could learn magic because that's cool, because they see female power.
That must have been such a exciting or, delightful surprise.
It was to the point where it made me fall in love with doing magic even more. That's a huge part of it. And now I'm getting patches made that say girl magic, because I have this jacket and it has different patches on it that say different things. So that's going to be my thing, the girl magic patches. Girl power.
My heart. I love that so much. So aside from that, or I guess that could be your answer, what do you love most about magic?
What I love most about magic is performing.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said before, I love performing. And the thought of not performing, because when I was a dancer, I was like, wow, someday, I don't know, there's not many 60-year-olds dancing on the strip. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't wrap my head around like, oh, what am I going to transition to? And I have a lot of things I could transition to. I have my marketing degree. I do massage therapy on the side. My husband and I have a landscaping company. Yeah, I know.
What?
I'm a Las Vegas showgirl, and I own a landscaping company. So if you hire me, you get 2 hoes for the price of 1. I couldn't keep it in.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, we started that during COVID. So yes, I have many eggs in many baskets, but I just truly love performing. I love being able to connect with an audience. I love dancing. I love doing aerial. I love doing magic. And I think my favorite part about magic is the comedy side. I love being on stage and getting a laugh, and then putting the awe of magic. So people will come up to me and tell me, "Oh, you're so funny." Still, we don't know how you did that either. And I'm like, yes, double whammy. Made them laugh and did some good magic. Boom. Mic drop. I'm out.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
How do I want to phrase this question? This is going to be a complete 180 shift of topic and subject.
Love it.
What brought you to the West Coast?
So I knew that I could not live in cold environments. I knew that I wanted to live on the West Coast, and I knew that I wanted to be in a city where there was more opportunity. And so my first pick was LA. And LA, where everyone has the dream of being a movie star, and there's opportunity left, right, and center. So I needed to finish my degree in college with getting an internship in marketing. So from upstate New York, I was on the internet looking everywhere, like, anyone need, like Craigslist at the time. Like, I need an internship. And I actually got a marketing internship in Glendale. And then I moved out to Glendale and would go to my internship at a marketing firm from like 9 to 5. And then after that, drive down into Hollywood and take ballet classes until 10 o'clock at night, and then go home, wake up, and do it all over again. And then from there, after the marketing firm had closed, I was like, well, this is my opportunity, I guess, like I can still be a professional dancer. And so I started auditioning. And the first thing, actually, no, it was the last thing that I auditioned for, because I was auditioning and auditioning. I was so close to being Belle and Goofy in China for Disney World China. And yeah, I made it to the very last round. And then when they redid my measurements, they're like, I think she might be a little tall for... Or sorry, it wasn't Belle, it was Jasmine. And so then that didn't happen. Then finally I went to the audition for Jubilee, which was in Hollywood at the dance studio, IDA Hollywood at the time, they're no longer there, that I was teaching at. I was teaching ballet classes there. And so I was like, oh, maybe this is a sign. So I auditioned. They had one spot available, which I didn't know at the time, for a short nude. And I ended up getting the job. So I packed up my stuff a month later and moved to Vegas. And was like, I just want it to be on my bucket list to say that I was a professional dancer for a contract for 6 months. Then I'm going to move back to LA, because who lives in Vegas? And think about getting a real job. And here we are now, oh my gosh, almost 14 years later. And yeah, so that was kind of my whole journey to the West Coast. And I knew that I couldn't live in Florida because the humidity is just way too intense. I couldn't do it. I was like, I had never been to the West Coast, but I was like, I know that that's where I belong. So I got the internship and I got my cat, put him in the car, my PT loser, drove cross country with my cat, who I still have. He's about to be 20. I know. And so here we are.
Wow. Did you say they had one more spot for short?
Yeah.
You're considered short?
I'm considered short. I know. 5'9". I say 5'9", but I'm in between 5'8" and 3/4 and 5'9". So I'd say 5'9". The resume says 5'9" because I am.
You're considered short. I'm sorry, my brain is
I know.
You're considered
I know.
short?
I was a short nude. And because I'm 5'9", I was never even considered quite tall enough to be the short tall nude either. It was only the people that were 5'9" and 3/4 that could swing into the tall tracks. I know. And I always wanted to do a tall track because they had the big costumes.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I actually had this, I'm sorry, this has nothing to do with anything,
Love
but
it.
I had this random thought last night as I was go-going, because my counterpart, she was also in Jubilee, Britney Dunn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's,
Dunn.
what, 5'11"? She's got to be.
I
don't know, something like that.
Yes.
And then it's just funny walking out on the floor, about to get on a go-go box. I'm walking next to somebody who's 5'11", 5'10", and I'm like, and then there's me, who's short.
Yeah.
Just about the same size as the go-go box.
Yep.
I'm like, that's crazy nowadays that it can be like that.
Yep. And Britney actually was in my dressing room, the short dressing room. She could swing the tall tracks, but she, because I think Britney, she also did Bluebell. Britney did a lot of different things, but she was considered, a short track. And then I think she got moved around a bit. But for a moment, the shortest tall girl was 5'11".
Wow.
And the tallest tall girl was 6'4" or 6'3" or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which you don't see very many glamazons anymore.
No.
But you had to be tall to be able to wear those costumes.
Oh yeah.
You had to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if the costume drags on the ground, that's not how they're meant to be worn at all.
I could never wear those.
No,
absolutely not. It's also
not without altering them.
But it's also 2 times the size of me.
Yeah.
With the headdress is my height.
100%.
Are you kidding?
There would be some headdresses that you would probably put on, and they could probably touch the ground.
Exactly.
Ones, yeah.
So it makes sense. Still, sorry that my brain just got so.
That show is just an iconic, epic show. I wish that Vegas had something like that again. I mean, we do have Dita. She wears some of the costumes, of course. But to see 80 showgirls on stage coming down in Dawn Arden costumes, it's a glorious moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's Vegas and it's glory.
Yeah,
and,
I know. Too expensive for modern times.
Did you grow up having to fight for your belief systems of wanting to be a professional dancer?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, my parents, my mom was very much so you have to go to college, you have to get a degree. And so, being 18 years old and auditioning for a cruise ship, that was never something in my wheelhouse. I wanted to, but I, had the pressure of going to school, and that's just what you did. Now, in hindsight, I am almost done paying off my student loans, first of all. I know, almost. Probably next month, actually. Yes. But in hindsight, a part of me wishes that I did just do the auditions and take time, because it did take me longer to graduate because I changed my majors so many different times. But another part of me is you know what? No regrets. It didn't hurt me. I think having a college education has allowed me to do a lot of things and be able to branch over into other positions and be considered for other positions, like management positions in entertainment, faster than maybe somebody else, because I've dabbled in that direction a few times as well. So it definitely didn't hurt me by any means. But it took me a moment to realize it was my ballet mentor, Jennifer Nairn-Smith, who danced. She was a ballerina in one of the original Balanchine dancers, and Bob Fosse dancer. She was in All That Jazz. She was one of the core dancers. And she was my mentor in LA. And finally got to a point, she was like, Dani, you need to be auditioning. I was like, really? You still think? Like, and that's how brainwashed I think I was, because I was in my upper 20s and I was like, you still think I could be a professional dancer? But I had the mindset of like ballerina. She's like, there's so many shows, of course. Like ballerina, it is a little bit different. I do think that there's a tighter age gap, and because it hurts your body. Like that ballet is, when you're dancing at that level, your body, I think, goes faster than your mind wants to leave the sport.
Yeah, I could go on a complete hour and a half rant about this,
Right.
but that kind of specificity in training requires vigorous time and a very
Yes.
intense and special schedule.
Yes.
I can say whenever I, as a kid, started training ballet 3 times a week, that's when I actually got good. So if you're going to be a professional, you need to be training 5 to 6 times a week. So that makes sense that you would believe that that wouldn't happen.
Yes. And that's all I was really training with her, because that's what she did was ballet. But I was literally doing ballet 5 to 6, 7 hours a week.
Yeah.
And she was like, but this is your base. Now you can do whatever. And it really did. I think without her training, I might not have been the option for Jubilee, because they rely heavily on ballet training. But yeah.
Can I ask how old, because you said you were in your upper 20s, how old were you when you started auditioning for stuff?
Yeah, of course. Really, I mean, I auditioned, like I did a dance team. I auditioned one of my college dance teams, like I auditioned for that. But like for a professional job, besides doing the arena football team, I auditioned for that like in my, I don't know, I think I was 21, 20, and I did a couple semi-pro sports teams in New York. But then when I started auditioning in LA, it wasn't really till I was about 26, 27. Okay. So I think that's why, because like to this day, auditioning, I hate it. I loathe it. And the people that are like, yeah, but you learn so much about yourself. I'm like, do you really? I know it's a very necessary part of the process. You want to get a job, 9 3/4 times out of 10, you need to audition for it. But yeah, I think that if I had done a competition team or something when I was younger and had to do more type of auditioning things, or even, while I was in college, even if I practiced auditioning more, that maybe it would have been an easier process for me in my upper 20s when I started getting more serious about it. But hey, I booked some pretty good jobs, so I figured it out. But yeah, I still am not a fan of, I just hate the whole, I hate making people feel terrified and like a number on stage. I just think that there are and this is a whole other tangent, but I think that there are so many great ways to audition people that are beneficial to getting their best out of them that aren't utilized as much as they should be.
Like, what if you could change it, what would you change it to?
I mean, I understand big casting calls, it's hard not to have a cattle call. I think more intimate settings are always more enjoyable. But if you have to have a big group, let's not teach 9, 8 counts to 100 people. What are we doing? If you know dance that well, you should be able to pick somebody out after a couple 8 counts and then narrow it down and then teach something else to the group that's left. I can't stand a 3-hour audition. I don't know why they exist. Even with big groups, I don't think it's necessary.
If I could wave a magic wand, just typecast me. Not all the time, because I understand that there's some projects where it doesn't matter. But if you know what you're looking for, and I'm so sorry to any future employers listening to this, just typecast me.
Yes, 100%.
If you know you need a height, if you know you need only blondes, if you know you need somebody
Don't put me through the ringer.
Yeah, if you know you are looking for somebody with that has more melanin in their skin
Yes.
than I have.
Yes.
That's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
100%.
Just tell me.
Yep, 100. And I also, the other thing that I would add to this is more verbal feedback.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, why not?
Mhm.
Why not typecast me after I just did a couple 8 counts, but then say, guys, thanks so much. And I know like there's a lot of great dancers that just left this, but we are looking for a certain look. Come back next year.
Mhm.
So that I also am not sitting there being like, I just nailed that, 3 8 counts or whatever. And I thought that's the style they wanted. Like instead of just cutting me and
Mhm.
questioning, I think it helps produce a better generation of new dancers
Mhm.
and talent.
Yeah, and it definitely allows. And the reason I clearly have some trauma about being typecast. I mean, it is what it is, but it's also just like it would make I feel as though dancers feel better about their audition.
Yeah.
About getting cut. I nailed it.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Yep.
And it's like if you could have just taken 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, maybe 5,
Yep.
to tell me or to say out loud, we need somebody that is 5'7" that matches the counterpart that's
Yes.
already hired.
And so that I know that there is nothing else I can do or work on.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, there aren't growth pills yet. So, and I'm okay with that. Like, I like who I am, that would be lovely.
Mhm.
And, it's okay, I think, too, for a little extra, criticism. Like, sorry, we're going to cut you guys. We're looking for a little bit more flexibility than I saw in this group. Thanks so much. And I'd be like, great. Okay, I really got to work on, getting those batmas touching my face or,
Mhm.
whatever it might be. Like,
Mhm.
really got to work on my, my feet or whatever it is. Just give that little bit of feedback so that then they can go take some classes and know what they're working on.
Mhm.
And then the next audition you have, you're going to have so many people that are you can't choose because now you have this group of people that have been working on all the things that you need, and it just makes the shows better too. I don't know. It makes your production better.
Yeah. Well, that would help. Now I'm thinking about it. Jesus.
I know.
But
we've all been there.
I wonder if that time is worth it. Like taking the time, not out of the audition, but taking that extra 5-10 seconds with each group or with each audition to say, this is what, we need more from this group. This is what we're looking for. I wonder how that would affect the people who show up and audition for them and with them.
You mean negatively?
Yeah, I would have more respect.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
They want somebody
Positive,
to throw their leg, around their head.
Yep.
Not me.
Yep.
Hey, thank you.
Yep. Exactly. And you'd be like, okay, maybe I can work on some flexibility and then maybe I'd do that next time. But if that's what they're looking for, then no. Or, you know what I mean? And I think it's just nice it would be nice to have more feedback. And I have my brothers in the acting world and I've had some actor friends over the years kind of say the same thing about acting auditions. It would be there are certain auditions they've gone into and they're like, yeah, it was so great. I left there, even though I didn't get the job, I left there feeling relieved because they told me, it wasn't necessarily the look they were looking for, but also I needed to work on, my raw emotion when saying that out loud for them to feel I was really selling it. So they're like, yeah, great. I feel good leaving there, not getting the job because I felt like I got something out of it. It wasn't a waste of my time.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard balance because it's not like the casting team or any of these companies owe us anything.
No,
you don't owe me an explanation.
No. But
however,
I
it would be nice.
Yes. And I think that you do see some of that with people that are in charge or producers and casting agents that have been in that position. That, I have seen it a few times because they know. And then sometimes there's just people that are in that position that just don't know. They're like, no, I don't like that person, but I don't know why. And then, you know what? It's probably better that you don't give me criticism because it probably wouldn't be constructive or productive.
Yeah. I've had a lot of experiences here in Vegas that are really good at being this is what we want. This is what we're looking for. If you're not used today or not called back, this is why.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
And I love it. But I can only imagine being in a city like New York or LA, how much bigger the audition is, how much bigger the price is to have the audition and that they just need it in and out.
In and out. And
Yeah.
I totally understand that as well.
Yeah.
But I do think when the opportunity exists, because I've seen situations where the opportunity where it could happen and it hasn't, you know? And I think that there are also probably smaller opportunities for smaller auditions here in Vegas than some of those, bigger cattle calls that you'll see in big productions in New York. But yeah, just a little bit more of that I think would be nice for, especially, the young dancer that's, 19 and has a long career ahead of them and wants to learn more about themselves. It's like, I mean, if it were me casting and if I could see something like, you did so good, but yes, I need somebody to whack their face and everything else you sold me on, but that's just with the part, like, keep working on your flexibility, come back next year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you
Absolutely.
can. If you can't, I get it.
Right. Okay. Anyway. So after you started working in Jubilee, what kept you in Vegas?
So Jubilee then was closing, and that was the reason that I was like, okay, well, I realized that I do love performing. I do love dancing, and I want to still work at another show. So I started auditioning, and then one of the shows that I auditioned for was Crazy Girls. And at the time, it was at Planet Hollywood because it started at the Riviera. And I got offered a job position to be a swing in the show before Jubilee closed, which was really cool because I actually had a job to move on to. And then after being there for a couple of months, they offered me a full-time position. And so then I was there 6 nights a week. And then after being there full-time for a few months, the producer said, hey, you're a loudmouth New York Italian. You like to talk a lot. Put together some stuff. He's French with an accent, so that's my friend. Put together some stuff and you show me when you're ready. Norbert Alamon. I love him to this day. And so that was kind of the journey of trying to figure out, okay, how do I put together 13 minutes? And I've never talked on a mic before. And so I had some help and surrounding me and some support. And at the time, too, the Penny and Gazillionaire at Absinthe, I was connected with them for massage. And so I was doing, and I was telling them about this journey. And so I brought my script over to them and they went through my script and helped me fine tune some jokes. And they were kind of my mentor at the moment. And then right around that time is when I met Murray as well. So even though we were very new, right before I went on stage to do it, he helped me fine tune a couple things. And yeah, so that was my stepping stone. And then COVID happened. And so then the show never went back to Planet Hollywood. But I had this great new tool of talking and having some material and just being comfortable talking to a live audience. So then I went on to hosting other things and small events. And I did A Touch of Burlesque, which is no longer here with us. But yeah, that was a nice skipping stone. And then I had taken some moments. COVID was weird, I think, for a lot of people, especially performers, because a lot of jobs, there's very few jobs that came back very quickly. And so I realized very quickly, I was like, okay, my creative brain can't not perform. What else gets me going? What do I like? Because yes, I still dance to this day. I still have get dance gigs and have something coming up in a few months. And it's great. I love it. But I also think about the long run. I want to perform for the rest of my life.
Hell yeah.
So that has been the transition and the journey. And I'm grateful that Crazy Girls gave me the opportunity to talk on a mic. And I got to spend a couple of years doing that in the show as the middle, break in the show, and still dance and have a solo and all the beautiful, wonderful things. I truly adore that show and that opportunity, as I did, Diane Palm and Jubilee, hiring the little girl trying to make it in LA. And my first real professional job was Jubilee. So, yeah, I'm just grateful because, when the universe really wants to provide you with something, of course, it takes some hard work. But, like the magic, I spent 6 months in my garage going over and over, learning these illusions inside and out to film for this opportunity that I got on Masters of Illusion. And I'm grateful for my husband, Murray, who has been my mentor. and then also connected me with, people that, and told them like, I'm producing her. She's going to be great. Like, like she's got this. And of course the hard work of you have to do hard work to make, you can't just go on stage without hard work. We know this. But yeah, the universe totally lines up and presents you with things. And as long as you grab those things and are prepared for them, I feel like that my performing career has thankfully lined up with those moments,
I think I have 2 more
Okay.
questions. Maybe 3. How did you meet Murray?
So I met Murray because I was in Crazy Girls at the time at Planet Hollywood in Sin City Theater, which is now where Chippendales is in Planet Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, his show was there like a 4 or 5 o'clock show, and our show was 9 o'clock. So we never crossed paths. But my producer of Crazy Girls, he also owned the room, so he was renting it out to Murray and a couple other shows that were in there, Norbert Alamon. And he said, and I was running the Crazy Girl social media pages at the time, and he was like, Dani, I want to take you and some of the single girls. We have dinner with Murray and make photo, and we steal all of his social media follows.
Oh my God, I love that.
To this day, I tell him, like, I'm like, Norbert, this is my impression of you, of how you introduced Murray and I. And he laughs. And so we did. So then Norbert always has a seating arrangement. So that was myself and 2 other girls, and then Norbert. So he always put me to the right of him. And then he put Murray the right of me, and then the 2 other girls on Murray's left. And that was our seating arrangement. And so we exchanged information. Murray DM'd me that evening along with the other girls saying, it was really nice to meet you all, proper thing to do. And I responded back, it was so great to meet you. Like, we should do a little ticket exchange. It would be great to like have you come, see our shows supported. And then,
as you do with fellow artists.
Right. And so then I went and saw his show, and he had a guest act in the show at the time that was doing birds, Dave Womack. And so he had these big, beautiful birds. And so he was there for the week with his family, and it's like he had a whole trailer. Like, these parrots are just amazing. So he took a couple of them and was doing a guest spot in Murray's show. And after the show, I said hi to them and we took photos, and he was like, oh, you love the birds? Dave was like, you love the birds so much. Well, we're staying at Murray's house. You should come see them on your day off. And I was like, oh, okay. So he invited me actually over to Murray's house, see the birds, and then they all went to Kona Grill, and they invited me to Kona Grill. And that's like Murray and I officially exchanged phone numbers. And I had a gig at Dre's nightclub that night, so I couldn't stay for too long, it was perfect. And then Murray was so slow at dating me. I was like, what is going on? And finally, he admitted to me it was because he was renting the room from the producer of my show. And he had auditioned years ago to be the magician in Crazy Girls, like back in the early 2000s, I think it was. And he didn't get the job and he told Norbert, he's like, why did I get the job? He was like, oh, because you'll fuck all my girls. Excuse my French. And he was like, what? And so, yeah, sure enough, he ended up hiring a blind magician who apparently was really good. He was really great. But that's because obviously a blind magician is going to have probably a little bit less contact with the female cast. So he was terrified, Murray. But I think that's, to this day, I think that's why we got to know each other so well, and we built a friendship as we started dating. It started very slow for the first 2 to 3 months. It was very slow, and then once I found that out, and he we started Netflix and chilling, and he's like, yeah, I've been just so cautious because I don't want to lose my show at the room.
Oh.
So I went into work one night and I was like, no, Bear. He has been cautious about dating me, and I was like, because of you. And he laughed and he was like, oh, you can tell your future ex-husband that it's okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I went and told Murray that, and then kind of ease it there. I'm like, he's not going to get rid of your show in the showroom if we start dating.
Oh.
So then it continued, and here we are.
That's adorable. Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
Some Vegas history right there.
So I don't remember the other question I was going to ask now, but I'll ask this one. What is your funniest story as a performer?
Okay, so I'd say, I there's quite a few. I'm sure you have quite a few as well. But one that sticks out in my mind was when I was in Jubilee, and at the time decided there was some girls in the cast that were going to this wax to get Brazilian waxes, right? Because you're wearing a lot of times small costumes and stuff and shaving every day, and it's just like, okay.
Oh yeah, the it doesn't end up well.
No, and I'm half Italian, so I was just like, okay, let me try this whole wax thing. Like, I had some girls in the dressing room that were going to, I think it's called the Pretty Kitty. It's still out here. I was like, great, I'm gonna do it. Well, in order to do that, you have to let things grow out. It was okay. I could pretty much let everything grow out because majority of the stuff like does cover and, like enough, like the G's aren't so tiny. Like Crazy Girls was a much different situation. Could have never done that in that show. But with the costumes I had for Jubilee, I was like, okay, I can let that happen. Well, one night towards the end of my growth, I was coming down finale. And for some reason, as I got on stage, I couldn't figure out why, but like my skirt felt extra tight. So there's an under G with the skirt, and then it was open in the middle. And I couldn't figure out what was going on, but the curtain came up, the stairs came up, and I had to start going. And I'm like, what? And then as I started walking, I could feel the under G slicing me. So, and mind you, the skirt comes up to here, so you can see a little black like under G. Well, when I got off stage and I looked down and my friends around me looked at me and they're like, oh my gosh, the whole under G had cut me basically like a hot dog. And so my lips were hanging out on both sides and it was full bush and they were dying. I looked at, I had to actually get into the mirror because I couldn't really see.
Yeah, with the skirt.
And stuff. I had to get in the mirror. I was like, my gosh. And my friend Beck, she ended up taking a photo, and to this day we talk about it, and I don't think the photo exists any longer, but it was one of those very innocent, extremely funny moments and it was probably okay with the audience. I do remember feeling like I don't know what's going on down there, so instead of my long showgirl stride, I was kind of going more to the side because I definitely knew there was something going on down there, and I knew that it was a day or two away from my first wax session ever, because that's what you have to do. You have to let it grow out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was, I did not live that one. I still haven't lived that one down. Sometimes we still talk about that moment. Yeah, it was there. It was there out for the world to see.
Ooh.
Can I ask you, what's yours?
I've shared this on the podcast before, but I'll share it again. And it definitely didn't necessarily happen to me. However, I still think it's the funniest thing in the world. There was, when I worked on the cruise ship, we did a routine where we had a pack on our back. So it was just, super cheap. You have elastic that Velcros in the front of you, and then there's a little bag.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bag, we had a scarf, a tambourine, and I think that was it. And then we had on 2 pairs of gloves.
Mm-hmm.
So we would come on and we would do something, put our hands behind our back. Oh, now our gloves are a different color. And then put our hands behind our back. Oh, look, a tambourine. Put our hands behind our back. Oh, look, a scarf. And it was close to the end of the contract. And so, at the end of the contract, you start to play jokes on each other. And our singers thought it would be funny to put shaving cream in one of the dancers' packs.
That is kind of funny.
And I still have the video of this guy coming off. His name was Jamie. I love this man so much. And he's just one of those dancers. The show's going to go on. Literally no matter what.
I love it.
And he puts on his gloves. So there's shaving cream in his gloves. And puts the gloves on. I didn't know this was happening. But we start to walk on stage. And I just see shaving cream all over this man as we walk on stage and pass each other. And the stage absolutely reeked of shaving cream. And it was just, I could not handle myself because I knew we were starting to play jokes on each other. There were other times in the show where the boys just didn't come on stage. So then the singer had a solo the whole time, choreography, doing it all by himself, shit like that. Yeah. But just to walk on stage and see this band covered in shaving cream and then
selling it.
And selling it. Yeah. I did not, we were supposed to lip sync. I could not lip sync because it smelled like someone just shoved a can of shaving cream in your nose. And then every time we would do things, he was slightly behind me on my left. So every time I turned to the left, I just kind of looked and I'd want to catch a glance. And throughout the number, more and more shaving cream was around him and on his face and on his body. But then every time he put his hands behind his back, he would try to wipe it So then by the time the number was over,
covered.
his entire back was covered in shaving cream. Oh my Lord.
I can't.
And they videotaped him
And I'm
backstage.
sure then at one point it was all over the stage and stuff too, right? Like
it wasn't really on the
Really? It was
stage
just sticking to
because he
him?
just
He was
kept wiping it on
becoming this
himself.
big shaving cream foam
Oh
mess.
my Lord. And like they put up their phone and videotaped him originally putting on the gloves. And he was like, what's that? Someone put shaving cream on my gloves. And then not even a second thought, bitch just puts on the pack and just starts going on stage. Like,
oh
my Lord, it was so funny.
That's amazing.
We played
love
a
it.
lot of jokes on each other. There was another time where I went to pull my scarf out and there were 7 scarves tied to each other.
That's great. I love that. I love that.
Oh my
We did in
Lord.
Jubilee, we would like hide jewels or like, because like our finale jewels were always hanging on our dressing room spot.
Mhm.
So everyone would go get their skirt that was hanging in their spot and then go back to your spot or vice versa and get your jewels and you'd hook it to your bra. So as you're going upstairs, you're putting on your gloves and you put on your jewels. Well, there were quite a few times that either my jewels weren't there or I had a different color. So like I was a green costume, but I had like tall nude purple jewels. And I'm like, and we would just do stupid stuff like that all the time.
I love that stuff.
Or put like whoopee cushions, like, what is it? Yeah, like a whoopee cushion thing underneath like a friend's heating pad on their spot. So they sit down. I love dressing room pranks.
Oh my gosh.
That's the one thing I miss about like being a part of a full cast or like that band. You have to, because when you're doing the same show every night, you need something else to kind of be like, okay.
Oh yeah. I'll tell one more story
Yeah.
and then we'll move on. But in that same ship contract, because that's the only show where I've been a part of it for so long enough to create the rapport in order to do that.
Yeah.
But I think it was our last cruise or second to last cruise. We went through so many reblocks. This cast, we were called the cursed cast because of how many reblocks and injuries and sicknesses and we had. It was crazy.
Like we're working.
So we were going through our last reblock of the farewell show. It is simple, 4-minute routine. And luckily, we had created the rapport with the dance captain in order to do this because he will even attest he was an asshole. He knows he was an asshole. And I say that with confidence because, I mean, like, we went through hell and back with this kid. But he was also very self-serving. And like I said, I say these things because he knows these things because we've had these conversations before. Yes. And I mean, like, side note, watching his growth through that contract was crazy because he was just a young, kind of selfish person who really just wanted to be dance captain for his own cabin. And then by the end of it, he was like, I did you guys wrong.
Yeah.
And he was so self-reflective. So God bless.
Yes.
But anyway, so we thought it'd be funny that we were like, oh, you want to make the show all about you. We'll make it about you. So in the farewell show, in our reblock, he put himself center, like on stage. So after our reblock rehearsal, Jamie was actually like, guys, you know what would be funny? If we all just didn't do the choreo and just gave him the solo he's always wanted. So we were like, bet. So we all like stayed after rehearsal just for like a few minutes and we were like, okay, so after this part we're gonna stop. And so we did, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna pick it back up on this part.
So what did you guys do? Did you stand still?
Yep. So it gets to the big dance break.
Did you like pose?
And it was like something like a pose, plie, go into the next movement. And so instead of hitting the next movement, we all did like our hit, plie, and we presented him in the center.
So you like choreographed.
So we like choreographed.
So,
yep.
So
and so
I love it.
And of course he's like backstage center, so he sees all of us just stop and stare at him. And then he just keeps going. And on stage he's like, you assholes. And then our music director knew that we had shit with him. So he's just in the back of this video. I still have the video because I find it hilarious. I'll never get rid of it. And he's just losing his shit and the band starts laughing. And it was great. And then we picked it right back up at the end of the dance break like nothing happened.
I love it.
Oh, it was awesome.
I absolutely love it.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Those are the moments. Those are the memories that count.
Yeah, because it's also like, the audience doesn't know any better.
Yeah, no.
And
no. I mean, maybe the shaving cream situation.
Oh my God, that was so funny. But like, the audience doesn't know any better. And like, it doesn't, necessarily negate the integrity of the show.
Right.
The choreography is still happening.
Yes, for sure.
He still danced his life away. The audience still saw it. We still created a great picture. We had levels. It was great. Like, we were still like, we'll make it look good. However, like, that's just, there's so... I guarantee you they probably have the same memories of pulling shit. You know, like, those are the things that stick with you for a long time. And that all reminds us that we're not performing brain surgery. This isn't that serious.
Yeah. No,
this is, we're just here to entertain.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. And yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm. What was the other? Oh, yeah. What, has there ever been a point in your career that you were like, you know what, I think I'm going to step away from dancing or performing. Like, I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I tried. I tried, and hence here we are now. There was a couple different points because, you know, and I loved dancing in a show, but I also was like, okay, I can't do this forever, which I know I can still dance. Like, I still have time to dance, but like, what else do I want to do? And, you know, so then I went to school for massage therapy, and then COVID happened, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is a sign to start like doing other things. And I was managing a theater for a bit, and I was like, I can't not be on stage. Like, a part of me just felt like it died. And as long as I'm still creating and I can be, and I have movements available in this body of mine, and I can use my brain and my voice, I will be on stage performing. As I've tried other things, and then I realized that, I don't know, I just, like I said, a part of me just died, and I didn't know. It's like, maybe you just get used to it. And I mean, I know there's plenty of people that transition from dancing into other things, and it works out beautifully for them, and they're very happy. And I was like, how much longer do I have to wait till I'm happy again? Is every day what kept going through my brain. And I'm like, this is not normal. This is not like, you know, if I can't dance someday, then, you know, I want to do something else that I can do for the rest of my life on stage. And so, you know, now, like I said, like, I do still dance, and I do aerial, and, you know, some hosting, and now the magic, which is like really taken precedent for the moment because my husband and I have been on tour. I just actually got off tour for Masters of Illusion, on the CW that I filmed. They did a live tour, which was really cool, and I felt honored and blessed to get asked to do it, be a part of it, and I would totally do it again. But I got to live for that 2 weeks, a little bit of the rock star life, because the whole cast and crew was on a charter bus, or not a charter bus, excuse me, on a double-decker bus where we slept. We had a kitchenette. We had TVs. We had, like, it was so cool. The bus driver would drive through the night. We'd get out from the shows, you know, and shower and pack up our show and stuff. And then everybody would go back to the bus, and, you know, we'd like have dinner there and like hang out. And it was, we brought games. So we played Cards Against Humanity. And then we go to our little bunks, and my husband was on it too. And so he had a bunk below me. So I would be in my bunk, and I'm like, I love this, but it's so weird knowing that you're sleeping right below me and we're not next to each other. So I'm like, I just wanted to say goodnight, I love you. He's like, I know, babe, goodnight, I love you. And he'd like knock on the upper bunk because he gave me the upper bunk. Bless his soul. And so, but it was such a cool experience. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity and the craft of magic. Like, I want to do more things, all the things. But yeah, I got to go on a tour bus. I was on a real live tour bus.
I remember my other question.
Yes.
We just keep talking. I love it. But how did being on Masters of Illusion come to you?
So my husband's been on it for seasons, like season after season, and I've actually been on it for quite a few seasons, assisting him. And then one of the producers, we were chatting, and I was telling him how I have been working on magic, because I have had at that point already been working on a few things to do in my husband's show, and a couple shows that had booked us in Alaska, and they wanted me to be his guest act, and they're like, yeah, great, like, yeah, we'd love for you to perform that there. And so after that conversation, the wheels started turning in his brain, and he was like, if you have a great mentor, and looked over at Murray then I would like to make this officially your invite to perform on Masters. And at the time, I only had like 1 or 2 things that I was planning on doing. But then I spent, like I said, 6 to 7 months in our garage rehearsing with music, a couple of the illusions, and then I had 3 other bits that I did. So there should be 5 episodes that I will appear on this year.
Oh,
yeah.
That's going to be so cool for people who have followed that show for so long, because they'll now see how you were an assistant and was only there as a supporting role.
Yeah.
Now be
that's cool. You're right. I didn't even think about it like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I look forward to that. And I think dancers are some of the, without having too much of a biased opinion, I think dancers are some of the hardest working performers that put up with a lot of shit and don't usually have the opportunity to voice about it. You just say, okay, put on your dancing shoes and keep it moving, and we keep doing it. And I think having that mentality going into like shooting Masters. So I was like, I know it's TV. It wasn't live TV. So if something didn't go quite right, or you could retake it. And it was in front of a live audience. But in my brain, I was like, no, I have to be a one take. I am not going to be the reason that this production gets off their filming schedule. Like, I am new to this. I am going, and I had that mindset. And so my rehearsals going into it was that I had to know even if something happened or snagged in my costume, I was prepared for that. Or if the illusion didn't close properly, I was prepared to make sure that didn't happen. And so I literally did all 5 of my bits in one take. And they were so happy and pleased and shocked that's why I got invited to do the live tour.
Wow.
And so it was just an honor, because it's nice to sometimes be rewarded for your hard work, and that's really what that felt like. I felt like I was being acknowledged for all the work that put in, and that doesn't always happen. Sometimes we work really hard and it serves the purpose it's supposed to serve, but I got offered to do a touring show on a rock star bus.
It's usually we'll call you.
Yeah. You did good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
We'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
You're on our list.
So fabulous.
Well, we could talk forever, and I love you, and I thank you for being here and talking and sharing with us today.
I appreciate you.
Is there any, real quick, actually, Jesus, is there anywhere that people here locally in Vegas can see you perform?
We right now at the moment we don't have. We have a show in the works that we're going to be doing. There is also a theater space. Oh, I guess maybe I could talk about this. It's still kind of in the works, but the contract has been signed. So there is a theater space. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it's called. Right behind, next to upstairs or whatever, Hustler Club.
Terrace After Hours?
I think it's that. I think
Terrace?
it's that.
I thought it was Terrace.
And so...
on top of Hustlers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Terrace.
And so Marie's going to be producing a show there, magic show, that I will be doing some magic in. I think it's going to be on Wednesdays, like Wednesday early evening, or maybe like a normal show hour.
Yeah.
Like 7, 8, 9 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, because half of that, it's outside. Half of it's outside, half of it's inside.
Yeah, and I think
right?
I think that this venue is inside, but...
Okay. Maybe I'm not thinking of the same thing. Anyway.
And I forget, because I don't have all the information. But I do know there's like a separate entrance to get to it. You don't have to go through the club to get to this theater space. So I'm going to be doing some stuff there. And then we're working on, we don't have the exact location that I can share just yet, but we are working on another show in a couple months, because Marie, we'll do like one-offs every 3 months for right now while we're finishing our tour schedule this year. But to be continued, you can go to DaniElizabeth.com, because I try to put my stuff up on there. And that's my website where you can see my aerial, you can see my magic, my dancing, choreography, all that stuff. And then, of course, like my socials are always a good place to go to keep up with what's happening.
I will put it all in the description box so people can click and be directed directly to you.
Yeah,
so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I adore you. I love you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Before the Curtain. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever it is you listen to the podcast. We love to hear your virtual round of applause. If you know of a production or artist that deserves to have their story told, send us an email or message us on Instagram by clicking the link in the description.